You're not depressed because you went through a bad breakup.
We're sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service at this time.
Hello and welcome to my channel. If you've never been here before, then my name is Mitiana. I am 18, I live on the island of Mauritius, and I aspire to become a doctor. This channel, I think, would be deemed as a lifestyle channel where I talk about everything that has to do with myself and everything that has to do with my journey into becoming a doctor. And though I dabble more into the lifestyle part of YouTube, I do want to dip my toes into the commentary part of YouTube as well. I consider myself to be a very strongly opinionated person, and I do hold very strong, sometimes controversial thoughts, beliefs, and values. In the month of April, I'll be doing a series called A Full A Day, where I'll be uploading a video a day for the whole month of April. And I want to also post a video on Sundays throughout my whole YouTube phase. And that video series will be called Serious Sundays, where I just, again, dabble into the commentary side of YouTube, where I talk about the things that either bother me or are more lighthearted, but I would still like to put out my opinion on the matter at hand. Before I even start talking about the romanticization of mental illness, I'd like to put out two disclaimers. The first one is that I am not saying that any of the people that I talk about in this video are faking having mental illness. The subject of this video isn't to figure out whether they are lying or not about their sense of mental illness, but more about the romanticization of the mental illness as a whole. And the second disclaimer is to you, the person that watches this video. If you are easily offended by people sharing their opinion and are easily offended by anyone talking about subjects in the realm of mental illness, you should probably click off this video. This is not a video that you should watch. So to even start this video about the romanticization of mental illness, it would be a good idea to see the differences between the stigma associated with mental illness from past to present. It is undeniable that there is a huge contrast between mental illness and its taboo in the past versus what it is today. In the past, even just speaking about mental illness was a taboo, and if you exhibited signs and symptoms of having a mental illness, you would either be sent to an asylum, you would have been disowned by your family, or sometimes, worst comes to worst, you would have been killed. To even point out that mental illness was never taken seriously in the past, the example of Freud and Jung would be the perfect, again, example just to illustrate how mental illness and people that were talking about mental illness weren't taken seriously. Freud and Jung nowadays are taken very seriously. You hear about them in philosophy class, but you also hear about them whenever the subject of mental illness is brought to the table. Lobotomies were also prescribed for people that exhibited signs of mental illness. They consisted of cutting the white matter of your frontal lobe, and supposedly that would equalize the function of the brain and make people think more clearly.
Observe first the corpus callosum and the association pathways. Next, the fasciculus singuli and the anterior limb of the internal capsule.
So all of this to just point out that there is a huge difference between past and present when it comes to disorders. And I guess that in this video I'll be mostly talking about the excess of mental health awareness. Like everything that humans do, we do things in extreme. either don't do it or do it too much. And I think that right now, as I speak in 2020, it has just been an uproar and a glamorization of mental illness, which to me just doesn't seem right. Did you hear that? So if you're watching this video, you were either offended by my title or you were curious to hear the opinions of a Gen Z girl. I am the perfect candidate for glamorizing mental illness. And truthfully, I did succumb to that. I fell into the trend of hurting and showing the hurt. My Instagram is full of black and white pictures of myself making silly faces. Well, it wasn't silly, but it was silly and morbid at the same time, with quotes that were beautiful, but hauntingly beautiful. But not only did I dabble into this dark black and white phase on Instagram, I also found myself writing super morbid and sad songs with, as well, very dark videos that went with it. Every inch of my skin is still crawling within a shell. We say our bodies are armory, but what if the war is within itself? Self-afflicted wounds have been mistaken for battle wounds. I guess I'm just doomed. Writing the Said So songs was great. It was cathartic to me. Till today, I still don't know why I had to share them, because it's not like it helped me to share them, because no one reached out to me at that point. And retrospectively, I now characterize that part of my life as a aesthetic phase of my life, I suppose. It was my black and white, and wasn't emo, but it wasn't very joyful, to say the least. But now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that I faked the hurt. I definitely felt it, but I honestly just didn't need to share them. Some people say that it's a cry for help, and it might be for you, I suppose, but to me, it was more of a, I needed to share it because we need to share everything nowadays, apparently. Just as I'm sharing my opinion, I feel the need to share it. And so I did. I shared it, and it didn't do me any good. I don't think it did anyone else any good as well. And on that point, I just thought about something right now. I just want to put forward the hypocrisy of the social media influencers. Nearly all of the social media influencers that I follow are the type of girls that believe in the law of attraction. They read that secret book, and now they claim to understand the law of attraction. And the hypocrisy behind that, I think, should be pointed out. If you do believe in the law of attraction, then why the hell are you posting about your mental illness, about how dark your thoughts are, about how depressed you are? Why are you posting such morbid pictures with such morbid quotes? Why the hell would you post that if you believe that everything in your surroundings, what you think, what you see attracts that certain thing? Why would you post that for your audience to see? Because they'll attract that, wouldn't they? Like, the hypocrisy behind that, it's just like mind-boggling to me. Don't claim to believe in the law of attraction. Don't make 2020 boards and, like, mood boards, what do they call that? Like, goal boards or whatever. Don't claim something, but then do something that would be to the detriment of your audiences. And by now you would have already made your opinion on me and on my thoughts. And if you think that I am dissing the people that to you are spreading awareness and are just talking about their experience so that other people can relate to it, and yeah, as I said, just spreading awareness, I just want to know, I sincerely want to know, when did glamorizing and romanticizing mental illness become the awareness of mental illness. Now, I've said romanticization and glamorization far too many times. And you might be like, oh, show me the proof. Where's the proof? The proof is in the pudding. And the pudding is social media. So, where is the proof? Everywhere. If you disagree with my opinion that it became trendy to be mentally unstable, then I would urge you to read books, watch movies and series and shows, same thing. Listen to music, go on Tumblr, look at your favorite social media influencer, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Read Twilight. Just in Twilight itself, the first two books were kind of based on Bella's depression. Read Paper Towns. The girl was depressed. All the Bright Places. What else? 13 Reasons Why. Yeah, all of those books, to me, to other people, to plenty of other people, are romanticizing mental illness. And if you haven't read any of the books that I just mentioned, I would just like to summarize the plot of all of them. It's very easy to do. Depressed teen falls in love, and the plot twist is that they either miraculously get cured from their mental disorder by love, by love and nurture, or they die. It's very easy. So, like, plot twist nowadays, there is no plot twist. The plot is always the same. Mentally ill kid falls in love, either dies or is in love and happily ever after. What about the shows? Well, Pretty Little Liars is pretty gross. First of all, can I just point out that the English teacher dates a underage girl? That's one of the first things that I want to talk about. There's a transgender character that is glorified / mystified. That's another video. Oh, and listen to Billie Eilish. If you still disagree with my point that we made mental illness something to be trendy, glorified, romanticized, and normalized, and emphasis on normalized, just listen to any Billie Eilish song. And I don't want to seem hypocritical as well, because I love Billie Eilish. Like, I think that her music is beautiful, but I think that that's the problem as well. And when you're finished with all of that, go on Tumblr. Tumblr, I think, is the most toxic social media platform. And that's very, very hard to be. It's very, very hard to be the most toxic social media platform out there. We make mental illness just this trendy thing that everyone needs to dip their toes in. Can we talk about the fact that YouTubers are making merch out of their anxiety? What's her name? That girl that's in David Dobrik's vlogs. I don't know what her name is. Karina something. That person. Anxiety shirt. So you're making money out of that, and you're only giving 15% of the money that you earn by selling out shirts written anxiety on it to an association for people that have mental disorders. Okay. Oh, and then there's this other YouTuber called Kelsey something. Again, don't know their names, don't follow them. Anxiety Queen. Oh. And you still think that there's no romanticization of mental illness? You must be kidding. But it's not only YouTubers, it's everyone, it's everywhere, and it's like omnipresent at this point.
So as I was editing this video, I realized that I never talked about the mainstream fashion industry taking advantage of people's disorders in order for them to be more relatable and get more money out of impressionable teenagers that think it's quirky and relatable to wear a shirt written, "I prefer depression over exercise." Seriously? Do you seriously think that #depression, can you really just not go that low? Like, I have a problem with the people that buy it. I have like a problem with the people that make it, and I have a problem with the people that think that this is fine.
I don't want to say the R word, but imagine a shirt with I was R. People would freak out about that. Or imagine something where it was I have cancer or something. Like, why, first of all, why would you wear a shirt with I have cancer? Because, so, okay, I'm having issues with expressing myself right now because I'm just so done. I'm just so done with social media right now. When you go to a therapist, one of the first things they'll tell you is you are not your disorder. You are not your mental illness. You have the mental illness. Why would you put your mental illness on a shirt? I still don't get it. Moment of silence for all the people that still don't get it as well. And what I was saying about Billie Eilish and how beautiful her songs are is the problem. So the problem with dark art is that most of the time it's hauntingly beautiful. It sticks with you. And when someone makes something beautiful out of something that shouldn't be beautiful, I would call that the romanticization of that ugly thing. Because there is nothing beautiful about being mentally ill. There is nothing beautiful about being depressed. There is nothing beautiful about having anxiety. Frankly, it's an ugly trait. It should be an ugly trait. You are not ugly because you have it, but it's an ugly thing. It's not beautiful. It shouldn't be romanticized. Books shouldn't portray mental illness as this trait that's cute or quirky, because it's not. Oh, and then my other thing that I want to talk about is the normalization of mental illness. There is nothing normal about being mentally ill. It shouldn't be normal to be mentally ill. And if you're like, oh, I'm not mentally ill, I just have a mental disorder, synonymous. It's just fascinating to me how the plea for mental health awareness has kind of like pulled us into the normalization of the problem itself. Like, sure, you want to spread awareness about it, but we are spreading awareness about it in such excess that it just became normal to have it. And it's not supposed to be normal to have it. It's an illness, it's a disease, it's a disorder. You're not supposed to make it seem normal. It shouldn't be yeah, you have that, okay, everybody does. That's not how it should be. And to me, it's just shocking, because I'm an avid reader, and if I had a penny for every single time the plot just revealed itself, but within the first chapter, I would be rich. At this point, it's so easy for me to unravel the mysteries of a teen fiction that I clearly just don't want to read teen fictions anymore. I've had my fair share of them, I'm a master of them. It's as if you can't be successful without having something wrong with you or without having a sob story attached to your story. And it's just, again, mind-boggling to me how everyone just puts emphasis on their struggles and on their hurdles in order to just sensationalize their upcoming into success. I just wanted to end this video by just putting let's be truthful. You're not depressed because you went through a bad breakup. You're not depressed because your family disowned you. You are not depressed because you don't like how you look. Because one of the characteristics about depression is that there is no reason as to why you're depressed. Hence the quote that says, how am I depressed when I have a good life?
Depression is not just sadness. Depression is an illness. It's a mental illness.
But I also guess that the lines have kind of been blurred with being depressed and having depression. Because you can be depressed, you can feel depressed, but you don't automatically have depression because you felt depressed. And that kind of somewhat spills into anxiety as well. Just because you felt anxious doesn't mean you have anxiety. You could have felt anxious when you were about to go on stage. You could have felt anxious when there's this whole pandemic going on. But that doesn't mean that you have anxiety, you just feel anxious. Oh, something that I would like to touch on as well is just the new kind of quirk and trend about being bipolar. I've seen videos on TikToks like, "Tee, I'm bipolar." You're not bipolar just because you woke up happy and went to bed like sad. I guess that my whole aim throughout this video was just to spread awareness about how you shouldn't use those terms lightly. And by using the terms like depression and anxiety, you are just normalizing those terms. And by normalizing those terms, you are making those terms meaningless. To finish off this video completely, I'd just like to put emphasis on one single phrase. Stop self-diagnosing yourself. I know you have Google. I know you've listened through the stories of multiple people that were diagnosed to have depression and you relate to their stories, but stop self-diagnosing yourself. If you had a lump on your arm, but you didn't go to the doctor, would you tell the world you had cancer? I'll give you a moment to reply. No, you wouldn't. So if you feel kind of sad, you felt kind of sad for a week, but you didn't go to a specialist and you didn't get treated and didn't get diagnosed to have that said so mental disorder, why would you spread it around the internet? That's about all I have to say within the subject of mental illness and the romanticization of the problem itself. If you like this video, I would urge you to like it, to subscribe, and to comment. It's actually very important for me to get the opinions of other people because I am aware that my opinions are not held by everyone, and there is a good reason as to why it's not held by everyone. So if you have something to say, if you disagree with one of the points that I made in this video, I would really, really appreciate you to comment on this video. I think that's about all I have to say. Thank you so much for watching it till the end, and